On the next all-new episode of Blue Lock.
I'll smash through everyone they've got.
That was a very glam pass.
Gauging the distance between them, with me running at top speed. Before the three of us collide, there's a split second. Coordinates are locked. This is my only chance to break through.
Whoa, when these guys get so good.
Blue Lock, next Saturday at 12:30 a.m. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. On the next all-new episode of My Adventures with Superman.
I'm looking for an open-minded person.
Well, that's me.
Because I tend to change people.
I'm open to change.
Excellent. Tell me more about yourself.
Well, I do investigative journalism for the Daily Planet. Nothing gets past me.
My Adventures with Superman. Next Saturday at midnight on Toonami. Next day on HBO Max.
Greetings, listeners. We're recording June 16th, 2026. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast, Toonami Therapy. We talk about anime and frequently Toonami. Not so much last week, but we've got it this week. We also, although they announced it by the time we actually put up the previous episode of our podcast, they had announced it. But we know what is replacing Don to Don, kind of. It looks like they're moving stuff up. Replacing. No, wait, we know, yes, Don to Don in several weeks. It looks like they're just going to move everything up half an hour and then put IGPX at the end. I have never seen IGPX. I think I've heard some good things about it, but I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, I don't know much about it either. But it seems like kind of an older show, which I'm surprised. It's like about 20 years old or so. And
yeah,
surprised
yeah.
Sorry.
No. I was the one who interrupted you. But yeah, it's going to be. It'll be interesting to at least see the show. I know I've seen a number of people like say, "Oh, they wanted it to come back and have a second season or something." So we'll see how that goes then. It's although did they actually show this again at Toonami at some point? I'm double checking on this thing and it's saying that it returned to Toonami November 2023. Maybe it was airing after all the stuff we watched before, and that's why we never noticed it. So we'll at least check it out, I guess, for a few episodes at least.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't notice it.
On the other, yeah, it might have been one of those, like, they just put it at the very end because it's a rerun. Now they're putting it earlier, but it's also at the end of the block. So yeah, that means it's at a high risk of us losing interest if it doesn't keep our interest. Then again, we're still watching One Piece, so. All right. I think that's all of it. So we will begin now. We've got the new premiere of season 3 of My Adventures with Superman, episode 21. So basically they go to try to investigate this facility where the guys were trying to clone Kryptonians, and there is one guy they find there that was a clone. And then, there's also a bunch of weapons and stuff they have to fight. And that's for the most part it. They do get the guy, but then the guy gets away, the one they find, right? He leaves, I think. So we get all of that. Yeah. And that's the episode. I did a bad job explaining it. Sorry. A lot of this episode felt kind of like, they just needed to have action, so they were just sort of padding it with the action.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I I'm not a fan of this Superman character because I don't think he's Superman at all. In fact, my new name for him is Super Wimp because he's been so wimpy. And it's like, yeah, well, okay, they have kryptonite, so he can't do anything. Well, then how come Supergirl can do stuff? It's like they keep on intensely making Superman look stupid or weak so they can make Supergirl look like the strong one. And it's annoying because Superman is supposed to be Superman. So yeah, so I'm calling him Super Wimp from here on out until further notice. So hopefully he changes so I can go back to calling him Superman again.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on from that to Don to Don episode 23. So they need to find a way to fight the giant kaiju. And such. They try a bunch of stuff that doesn't really work, but they ultimately do. I can't even remember the explanation they give for how they do this. Some sort of technobabble, magibabble. The point is, it basically turns their house into the Megazord, more or less.
Yeah. They go mecha.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the big robots on Power Rangers or the original or the series it was based on, Super Sentai. So it's obviously supposed to be a spoof on that, although which was kind of fun. Yeah, this was a fairly fun episode, I thought.
It wasn't bad.
I kind of feel it made the previous show, My Adventures with Superman, look worse because this had better action and better jokes.
Yeah, this one was altogether better. Although I'm starting to get a little annoyed because we hear the word skank about 15 times per episode now, always coming out of Momo's mouth, but um it is getting a little annoying because it's just like, do you have any other words you can use? You know, it's not that I'm offended by it. I'm just annoyed with hearing the same insult every single time.
What I'm wondering, did she say it that many times? I feel like I only heard it one time this episode, but maybe I'm like, blocking it out. What does she, I need to, now I'm suddenly curious, what actually is the Japanese word that she uses there? I have no idea. It would probably take too long for me to look it up. So, yeah, so that's Don to Don. We move on. Blue Lock episode 18.
Right, so basically, Yoichi's team comes back and wins, but at the expense of now what's his name again?
Baro?
Yeah, him. Yeah, he uh scores one of the goals, and but at first he's all depressed and he's like, I'm no king. And then at the end of the episode he's like, he's the king again. And and I just thought that was pretty humorous. And uh yeah, um they get through the episode, they win, and Yoichi. Oh, and then I forgot. We had something on our bingo card here, which was Ego giving a rant. And this rant lasted a long, long time. And I just kept thinking, you know what? Whenever people watch the World Cup that's going on right now, they are going to be very uh, critical of Blue Lock by comparison because people just teleport to balls. It happened in this episode too, where someone just teleported to a ball to make a play. And in real life, that doesn't happen. But real life, you don't have all strikers. You have 11 different players with different positions. So, yeah, I know they're trying to go for a certain thing here, but it still bothers me as a sports fan that you have uh, strikers all trying to play the same, all trying to play different positions that they aren't supposed to play, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like it's weird because they always say Bado. It sounds like they say with a D,
Mhm.
but it's spelled with an R. Now I know it's Japanese, so technically the thing everyone always pronounces as an R isn't really an R. It's kind of more like an R, L, and D rolled into one, but sounds most like an R. So I was just wondering why, but why in the English dub do they keep saying it like a D rather than R? That's what I've been kind of wondering about. But yeah, they keep talking about him being the king, like I'm the king, I'm no king, I'm
I'm no
king
king,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just like so which phrase would be more appropriate? To say no kings or return of the king?
Yeah, I think that the Return of the King is what ended up happening at the end. He became the king again, and he helped Yoichi and Nagi advance. I don't think they picked anyone yet, did they?
No, they haven't yet.
Okay, yeah. I'm confused as to how long this round even goes on, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I actually was wondering. I have not been keeping up with the World Cup at all. I was just how is Japan doing? Is Blue Lock fueling them and making them do better?
Well, they're scoring. They got 2 goals in their first game, 2-2 game against Netherlands, who's a really good team. So getting a draw against Netherlands is a pretty good result. So they're not doing bad. Um, but yeah, they might want to do a program based on getting better defensive players because that seems to be their weakness. And
Yeah, except Blue Lock is all about training strikers.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Did I have any other comments on this? That I think yeah, that was largely I think that was largely it. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say, but now I'm blanking on it. Well, I guess that's it for now.
Mhm.
All right, we move on. Tokyo Revengers, episode 18. So, Takamichi gets a bit more information about in the present about what happened in the past. Again, we have the thing where Takamichi says, "Wait, when did that happen?" And Draka says, "You were there." And I'm just like, it is so weird that he's just multiple times he's been talking to Takamichi about stuff that Takamichi was there for and doesn't say, "Why do you not remember this? You saw it." Now, and then apparently Takamichi does start to get memories of the new timeline. It was a little weird how that was happening, but apparently he has that ability now. Anyway, they basically go back in. So he goes back to. There's going to be a big fight. There's apparently going to be some kind of referee for it, but then the referee just gets knocked out and they all charge at each other. Um,
Referee for a gang fight. That was one of the more ridiculous things of this episode. Yeah, they had a referee. That was a joke, and the fact that they're trying to make this look like, oh, this is friendships being made and brotherhood, and I'm like, you know, this type of stuff gets people thrown in jail. So, oops, did I lose you there?
no, I no, I can. No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, sorry, my computer went to uh sleep mode for a second there. Yeah, it just this so I just hate the whole gang fighting thing, and but what I hate more than that is this thing wherever they're always like, guess who was in this gang? And they say who it is, and everyone's like, oh, whoa! And I'm sitting there like, okay, why was that important? And it's like, Mikey was part of Valhalla. And, and I'm like, okay, why does that matter? Why do we care about that whenever we're trying to save the life of a girl who gets killed in a car accident? Or not an accident, a car explosion. So why are we so focused on who's part of what gang? That's probably one of the biggest weaknesses of this show, is that it loses focus on what it's supposed to be about. So yeah, not the greatest of episodes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought the referee maybe made a little more sense at the start if they were, because it at least sounded like maybe they were just going to have, because you did like suggest, so are you guys going to do, a series of fights or just a big brawl? And and then it made it sound like they could do 5, and one thing the series did buck the usual shonen trend. They did not choose to have 5 one-on-one fights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a big brawl, and Takamichi will probably get beaten up again.
Yeah.
Okay. So we then move on lastly to One Piece episode 780. Well, they're all hungry, so they come across a Navy base to try to get food, and this whole episode is just filler anyway. So I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying that much attention.
Yeah, so Nami and Chopper dress up as Navy people, Marines, if that's what they're called. Um, they dress up as them, and then this one guy sees Nami, and she's like, "Great, someone busted our disguise." But then he's like, "I'm such a big fan of you." He's like another Bartolomeo character, and so we have that part, and then they notice one of Garp's friends in the Navy sees Luffy sitting there and sends the Navy after him, and then the fun part happens. And I found this episode to be kind of enjoyable because um, it was just mainly humorous things, and it wasn't trying too hard to be serious. It was just kind of like, okay, we're just going to be a little wacky today. So we'll take this episode off from trying to build an actual story, and we'll just be funny for an episode. So it wasn't bad.
Yeah, as far as filler goes, it was decent enough. But and of course now once you've described it, like, oh yeah, that was everything that happened. Why did I forget all of that? I don't know. It's just all One Piece's the anime pacing is so slow already that it's really hard for me to. It's especially hard for me to care when I know there isn't any plot advancement in an episode.
Mhm.
On the other hand, this one is at least a short filler arc. It's only 3 episodes. Unless, does the next thing start with more filler? No, it looks like we get back into the story after this. So yeah, as far as filler goes, it could be a lot worse.
Mm.
Okay. Then we move on to the non-Toonami series, specifically the 6 series we've got for our May Madness pseudo tournament thing, and some of which will be continuing and some of which will not. So let's go through them. All right. First up, the Klutzy class monitor and the girl with the short skirt, episode 2. All right, this is going to be the game where I try to describe everything in as short as possible that technically describes it, but doesn't really describe it. Here's my description. More shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, so basically, we get introduced to this new librarian character who looks like a Prince Charming type of guy whenever he's in the library, but whenever he's out of the library, he's a slob. So, and there's a whole bunch of funny stuff about Poem going back in the corner and sleeping with a book, and there's funny stuff there. And then second half of the episode, Poem doesn't have her lunch, and the klutz guy Togo decides to help her try to find it. So he goes on this big mystery hunt, and as usual, everything goes wrong. and until her mom shows up with the lights, and that's the best part because her face is so red, and her mom is like completely embarrassing her, and that was probably the best part of the episode. So yeah, another strong one, I thought.
Yeah. This was a funny episode. It's indeed just not necessarily the most to say about. We do finally, we do see the theme song, which I don't think we did in the first episode, and it has basically nothing to do with this series, as far as I can tell. It looks like the whole thing was supposed to be like some kind of parody on Magical Girl anime. The theme song, I mean.
Yeah.
Although maybe that will be more of a thing. I assume they're not actually gonna do Magical Girl stuff, but at least indicated she was a fan of one because they talk about pre-cure, the legally distinct version of pretty. Is it pretty cure or pretty cure? I just realized I don't know how it's pronounced.
I don't know.
Pretty cure or pre-cure, as they always say it. How is that actually pronounced? Well, I was trying to look up the Japanese pronunciation. I'm like, wow, this does not look. Oh, wait, pre-cure. I think it's pretty cure. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So obviously, it's a reference to that. But yes, nothing else to say about that. Although I will just keep saying it keeps talking about like her skirt being short, and I'm thinking, compared to some of the other anime we watched this week, not really. I legitimately feel like it might be longer than the ones in Don to Don. So, yeah. Like I said, maybe compared to real life stuff, it's on the shorter side, but it's just weird to see this in anime when I'm thinking, really? Okay.
Well, at my school, the teachers were so obsessed with it that they forced the girls to get down on their knees and they get down and measure their skirts to see if they went long enough. And if they didn't, then they get a $2 fine. So, yeah, this was a daily occurrence. This is, I'm dead serious about it.
I don't know. It didn't even really seem shorter than the others on this show itself. So that's weird. I will still say I think I mentioned how I thought this was not a good title for the show. I was looking, okay, so what's the Japanese? Now, maybe it just sounds worse in translation, but the literal meaning of the Japanese one makes me look and I'm like, okay, that's even worse than this one. Because the Japanese title, at least according to the what Wikipedia says is the literal translation, is the story between a dumb prefect and a high school girl with an inappropriate skirt length. And that made me just think, oh, I guess they kind of actually did make the English title sound better. All right. Anything else to say about it?
No, that's about it.
All right. So, Liar Game, episode 2. Dang, I should have come up with like ways to do things better, because I'm torn between giving an actually accurate description of this or continuing the joke of just giving these super short ones that don't actually say much. Okay. Basically, the teacher guy starts going insane under mental pressure from the main characters.
Yeah, so this episode, the con man guy who see, this is the thing I have a problem with. Like, why is this con man so obsessed with working for this girl? Like what does he have to gain out of it? I don't understand why he's in on the whole. Like, I know she went to him for help, but he's like obsessed with it. So
Well,
I don't
he gives,
understand.
he gives the explanation in the episode. He says, well, you're going to divide the money with me, and I'll get 50 million yen out of this. I'll take that for a month's work.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the
So
explanation he gives, at least.
yeah. So basically they get an apartment just so they can stare at his house. Like, there just so happened to be an apartment building right next to his house, so they could get the exact apartment that peeked into his house. And then so then he goes crazy trying to defend his money, and at the very end of the episode, time runs out, so he thinks he's won. My guess, and this is what I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, okay, the money can't be in there. So it probably wasn't in there in the first place, and it's been out of there for a long time. And but yeah, who knows? That was my prediction, but since it got cut off by the very end of the episode, then I'm like, okay, well, now I really need to see the next episode because it's like I need to know what happened there. So they did a good job ending it on a cliffhanger. That was a good idea. So I give them all the credit for that.
Yeah, this was enjoyable. I'll be honest. I was not expecting to laugh as much as I did during this episode because the teacher guy is just going so progressively insane the best part is where he becomes mentally convinced. He's like thinking, oh, he's going to try to break into the safe. Well, I'll show him. And he's just has this ridiculous outfit where he's got like this headband and he's got knives in it and he's holding these knives. It's just so, looks so ridiculous and it's hilarious. Yeah, there were a lot of funny things here and just how paranoid he's getting as a result of all of this. The one downside of having read the manga so long ago is I do remember how this gets resolved. So I am watching it, but unfortunately I know exactly how things go. It's been a long time since I have read this, so hopefully as we go forward I'll have forgotten some stuff.
Yeah. This is one of those shows I think that it's going to be harder to watch a second time because once you know what happens, and you kind of like Death Note. Like once you've seen Death Note, it's harder to rewatch it. You know.
Well, the problem was, especially big earlier stuff I remember better because this was a manga, like I said, and I read it. Now there's a part where the manga went on a kind of lengthy hiatus between two of the arcs. So when it came back, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start from the beginning and reread up until this point. So up until that point was stuff I have read twice and thus have much more clear memories of, even if I did read this like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And the stuff that happens after that, I'm thinking, let's see, there was a game and it had to do with poker and I can't remember anything other than how that one ended. So those later ones, I'm like, I am not sure, but that's much later stuff. Anyway, yeah, I've still forgotten some of the specifics, even if I remember the big stuff, but it was still enjoyable. So that's good. Because I was like really, from what I remembered not really liking the start of the series this much. So I was worried, I'm going to go through the weaker stuff to get to the better stuff. And I'm like, no, this was actually pretty fun to watch. Okay. Then we've got Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-Kun, episode 2. So what happens here is, well, he's still going to the school. They're summoning familiars, but he inadvertently summons one of the professors as his familiar, who ends up kind of as his familiar as a result. So that's the wacky shenanigans that happen. Also, we meet a girl who, based on the theme song, I assume is going to be the other main character.
Yeah, there were some funny moments in this, but ultimately it was just about average, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I thought I liked the previous episode more.
Yeah, it's just because of that song where they're all singing about eating humans. That was, I was hoping they would. I remember there was some sort of singing in this episode, but a little bit. But unfortunately, we didn't have that again. So
yeah, we didn't have that. There was a bit of singing, but not much. The main singing I remember is the theme song, which is actually really solid. I still like remember, yeah, Bobby, 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 Bobby Lou. They sang it a lot better than I did. I apologize if I besmirched the theme song with my terrible singing. But the theme song is fun. I think the theme song is better than the show.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Did I have anything else I wanted to say? Yeah. The one problem with, of course, the themes with when you see the theme song is it makes it so obvious who's going to be the important character. So I'm like, oh, hey, this girl shows up at the end of this episode and she's featured prominently in the theme song. Well, I guess she's going to be like, the third main character then. All right. Then we got Witch Hat Atelier episode 2. So, yeah, I guess I've given up on my brief description shenanigans joke, but we'll go through it a little more. So Coco gets brought to the workshop, the Atelier, as they say, and gives a whole bunch of exposition about how magic works. And she does a little bit of training, and then he says, well, I'm going to be off for a while. This other person will train you now. And that was, and then that other girl who's one of the other students just tells her, yeah, I'm not going to be as easy as you as that guy. So, yep. And that was essentially the episode.
Yeah. And that kind of sums it up. That was essentially the episode because there's a whole lot of really slow moving pieces of this episode, but there's the one girl who's all energetic. I liked what she brought to the show. She was like, I don't remember her name. I'm terrible with names. But the one with the orange hair, you know. Um, so yeah, that that was enjoyable, but overall, it was a little boring. It's not something I hate necessarily. I just, well, I definitely don't hate it. I just uh, didn't find it as enjoyable as everything else.
My problem, I think, is the pacing is rather slow. Like, especially all the stuff we got about magic. I'm thinking we didn't need to spend this much time on that. And it's not just the fact that what they say, it's how it's just kind of slow and drawn out. When, as from what I remember, all that really is important they need to say is, well, a bunch of people were pretty much anyone can use the magic as long as they've got the ink, but that caused a whole lot of problems with, people using it for evil. So we decided to make it so that only a very select few know how it works to prevent that. I can't remember if they explained how they made everyone, not know it, although I apparently they have like ways to wipe people's memory. So maybe they did that to everyone somehow. Not sure. But that they spent like too much time on that. I don't know. It's just a matter of pacing is a big issue I have with this. I felt kind of bored through a bunch of the episode, although the ending did like make me think, oh, this could be moving in a more interesting direction. So, but
Yeah, that's almost exactly how I felt about it. So yeah. I'm still very curious though. I want to know why this guy, the old man guy, or well, he's not old, but the why his glasses are the way they are. That 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 has me interested. Like, are they going to reveal that soon, or are we going to have to wait for the whole series to find out why his glasses are as peculiar as they are?
oh, you mean where one of them is black,
Yeah,
opaque?
yeah.
I just I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I'm sure if I like look on the wiki for the
No,
series, I can
don't spoil
probably
yourself.
find out. No, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just saying probably could find it. Okay. Then again, maybe it isn't anything. Maybe it's just like a character quirk that they just do to make them look more distinctive.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we've now gotten to Akane-Banashi episode 2. So we skip forward 6 years, I think. So now technically we skipped forward 6 years at the end of the previous episode, but this is where we actually see it. Basically, so Akane's been doing training stuff for Rakugo and then gives her first real performance. And that is and also there's the stuff with Kaisei, this other guy who does a performance, who's considered who she thinks did do a better job, and that's essentially the episode.
Yeah. If you'll notice, her voice probably sounds familiar,
it's
and
it's
that's Momo.
It was funny when I saw when I was hearing that, I was thinking, oh, it's like I remember because I remembered Poem sounds like Momo. Maybe that's the same voice actress, and no, she was not at all. But here it's like, huh, this one sounds like Momo also. Let me check. Oh, it is Momo. I didn't notice in the previous episode because she was doing a different voice because Akane was younger then, but now it's pretty similar to Momo, so it's pretty
Yeah,
recognizable.
yeah. I love this Akane character. I love her spunk. Um, I think she's a pretty good main character to have. Um, and able to make this thing actually interesting, Rakugo, like for her to and the show to actually make it interesting to me is a pretty big achievement. So yeah, I really like the direction of this show. Of course, at the end of the episode, she got all those letters of people saying she did a good job and she didn't see them. So so that was a funny bit that they put in there. Um, I guess that's just gonna make her try to get better. So yeah, I enjoyed that first second episode, the first one since the time skip, that is.
Yeah. Yes, it was a this was a good episode. The one criticism I have of it is that I thought after Kaisei, he's the pink-haired guy, when he's giving the performance, the other characters are saying, "Oh wow, it's such a good performance. He's so sensual." And I'm like, "Is he?" I didn't really feel uh that way. And apparently remember seeing some people like make that same sort of comments about the original Japanese, that they didn't think that his performance was quite as good as the characters were making it sound. So it's not like just a dub thing. That's, I guess, the one issue. I suppose it's one of the things that's sometimes unavoidable. When you make a manga, you can just say, well, this character did a great job performing. And then except then when you put it into an anime and it kind of maybe doesn't work as well, then that becomes more apparent. But other than that, yes, I thought it was a solid episode.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So, did I have anything else to say about it? Yeah, that's basically it. All right, last one. Mistress Kanan is Devilishly Easy, episode 2. So let's see. Kanan's father sends is maid, or maybe she is Kanan's maid. I can't remember. She basically gets sent there also to keep an eye on her, then uh, and then she's a succubus. So of course, all sorts of shenanigans of the expected variety ensue as a result of all of that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this episode was funny, but it doesn't have enough substance to it. Like it, it's it's just trying so hard to make Kanan make all these crazy reactions, and there's not really anything to the plot of it. So it's funny. It's just not that good, you know.
it I kind of this show is kind of frustrating to me because there are some funny jokes, and I think the basic premise in some ways is funny. This she like comes here because she wants to like feed on the humans, but then falls for this guy and doesn't know anything about love. But then there's like all these significantly less funny, like sexual fan service jokes they put into there, and also a tendency to make all the female characters have have like abnormally large chests. And it feels like it's if you took Konosuba and you increased the stuff I didn't like about it and decreased the stuff I did like about it. Um, so you have all of that sort of like annoying humor that it has, only more of it, and it doesn't have and jokes and characters I did like aren't as emphasized. Now, granted, I know I'm saying this is just 2 episodes compared to all the ones I've seen of Konosuba, but I feel if you just compare the first 2, Konosuba still came out well ahead by having, funnier jokes with the characters and such. So that's kind of my thoughts. Also, from what I've heard, like the issue, it kind of gets worse in that department in this series going forward. So it's not one that I have like super interesting. All right. Did you have anything else to say?
No, not really.
All right. So we need to choose what some more series to continue in. Now, originally I had this sort of idea where we would one person would choose the other person would choose one of these 2. Then we do the same thing for the remaining ones of both weeks. But from what the comment you made to me that there were 3 shows here that you thought were must keeps, are those? I'm going to assume those 3 shows were Klutzy Class Monitor, Liar Game, and Akane-Banashi.
Yeah, in a different order than that, but yeah.
Great. Those are the 3 that I would have picked first also. So that leaves us just with 1 left, and I'm not sure the best way to do it. I don't know. What if one of us, I could just randomly decide who does it. What if one of us just picks 2 series that are the favorite of the remaining ones, and then the other picks one from those?
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, we'll try it.
All right. Let's see. Let's flip a coin. The one who will go first. Let's see. 1 is me. 2 is you. Okay, that's you. So name your 2 favorite shows, and I'll pick one of them.
Okay, Wisteria is one of them, and the Ramparts of Ice is the other one.
I'll pick Wisteria.
Okay.
All right. Funny thing is that if it had been the other way, I think I would have offered Wisteria and Atelier.
Yeah, I would have picked Wisteria too.
Okay, so there are no complaints from either of us. All right, all systems are good. Okay, let me make a note to make sure I have everything that we are watching. Then let's see. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give my order of how I ranked them this week. Kanan was the lowest rated one. Witch Hat Atelier came above that. Then the Demon School Iruma-Kun thing that came next. 3rd place for the week. This is very close. Very close. I put Liar Game in 3rd place. I put Akane-Banashi in 2nd place, and What's and Spurt won yet again.
Okay. I can give my overall order. Well, kind of. I'll do them. I'll do them in the opposite order, highest to lowest. For me,
Okay.
it would be Akane-Banashi, Liar Game, Klutzy Class Monitor, and Girl with a Short Skirt. Then the next 2 is really hard because I was very torn between Iruma-Kun and Witch Hat Atelier. I don't know which order I would have put them. I guess because I think I liked Iruma-Kun more, but I was more interested in continuing with Atelier, so they both kind of average out the same. Kanan was on the bottom for me also. Okay, so we have our 6 to continue into next week, which is nice because now we have a consistent thing. We're not going to be just switching between shows every several weeks.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 6. Next week we will probably be cutting out one of them and bringing it down to 5, but maybe we'll end up liking all of them and wanting to continue. We'll see. That's it. So for next week, our lineup for that is Wisteria, Classroom of the Elite, an observation log of my fiancée who calls herself a villainess, the Klutzy class monitor and the girl with the short skirt, Liar Game, and Akane-Banashi. There we
Yep.
go. I guess we both set our favorite non-Toonami shows. We should make sure to say what the Toonami show is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. For me, I will say Blue Lock.
Okay, so here goes nothing. My pick for this week is One Piece. Yep. For the first time this year, One Piece wins. I did not realize that until I was like, this is kind of funny. I'm kind of enjoying this, even though it's filler. I'm like, okay, this is One Piece whenever it's fun. So I liked it. And then I looked and I was like, wow, I've not picked One Piece one time the entire year. So One Piece wins that. Last week's Best Girl retroactively has been awarded to Colette from Wistoria. And this week it's Akane from Akane-Banashi. So there you have it.
All right. It's weird. I thought there was one time you picked One Piece this year. But you've got the record, so maybe I'm forgetting.
I got
now
the spreadsheet.
yeah. Now that I think about it though, I was saying, oh, I'm not interested because it's only, because it's going forward, not at all. But on the other hand, the fact it's filler means it actually can go through stuff at a reasonable pace because it doesn't have to pad stuff out. It can just say, all right, we got 3 episodes. Here, we'll write a story that takes 3 episodes and that's it. You don't have to do all the notorious padding the regular show has. Okay. That is all of them. So next week we've got the season finale of Don and those other shows that I listed. Again, Wistoria, Classroom, The Elite, Fiancé, Klutzy, Liar Game, and Akane.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
so what do we have on Toonami next week? Is it the same? We're
It's
still
the same.
the same.
It's the same stuff.
Okay.
It'll be the end of Don. I think. Let me double check. Yes. Next week is this week is Don's conclusion.
Okay.
All right, then. Anything else to discuss?
No, I've kind of got hung up on Digimon. I was watching that all the time, and now last 2 weeks I've been too lazy to watch it. So not actually too lazy. I've been too busy actually. It's not laziness, that's for sure, because there's always something going on that I can't watch it. So yeah. Hope to get back to that before my library thing runs out. So yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right. That's all. That's those. I don't have too much to talk about unless someone wants me to start giving like tips on Pokemon Sleep or something.
How does that work?
Oh, that game? That was the one I was
Yeah.
talking about last week where I was
Yeah.
saying, you get those things. Like my general tips for that, basically this is in the variety of things I really wish I had known when I was playing early on. Okay, here's a few ones. One, when you go to the list of the Pokemon in your teams, when you're looking specifically at the ones in your team, if you press and hold on the Pokemon, then that specific Pokemon's profile will show up. It's like such a mind thing to just know if you hold on it, that happens. Because if you just tap on it, it takes you to a list of all the Pokemon instead, and then you have to dig out where that one is. Whereas if you just hold, appears. It's like one of those things that I'm just like, why doesn't the game clearly tell me this? Your team leader gets you more candies than the other Pokemon. It's a good idea to get more of the candies to add a whole lot of people to your friends. Like if you go to the Pokemon Sleep Reddit, they have a thread literally where people will give like their friend IDs so you can add them as friends, and then they will just periodically send you candies which you use to level up or evolve your Pokemon. So you fill that up, then you can like get 50 of those things per day. You want a Pokemon that will recover energy for your Pokemon. The best skill for that is energy for everyone. So look for a skill type Pokemon with that. The easiest ones to get early on are Igglybuff and Pawmi. Also, well, let's see. It's to your advantage to catch the lowest evolutions because they're the easiest to catch, and when they evolve, it ups their main skill by 1 level for free for you. That's basically the basic stuff that, wow, this is stuff I really would have liked if someone had just told me this right away.
Now, it's called Pokemon Sleep. Can you
Yes.
explain that concept to me?
Okay, I talked a little about it last episode, but to go again, basically the game, your Pokemon gather berries and ingredients throughout the day, and the berries can go to the Snorlax to increase its strength. You can use the ingredients to cook things for the Snorlax to eat to increase its strength. And they also have like various skills that can be used to do things like that. Your goal is basically to try to increase its strength as much as possible in a week. The whole sleep thing comes in because what you do is when you go to sleep, you put your phone on your bed and you set it to like start doing sleep, and just put it down face down. It'll like tell you about how long it took you to fall to sleep, and if you get 8.5 hours of sleep, then it will like give you 100% score on that, which will and such. If you don't get as much sleep, then it gives you a lower one. The more sleep, the higher the score is, like the more you get from the Snorlax, and it also refreshes your Pokemon and gives them experience. So basically, it's a game that incentivizes you to actually get good sleep, essentially. And then it has all this other like gameplay stuff, which is weird. The amount of min-maxing you can do in this game is kind of silly. Like the subreddit for Pokemon Sleep has a lot of good information on things. It's like they literally have this thing that's just guide to guides, and you look and you're like, there are like 20 guides here on all these different things. Anyway, I've been using it, and it actually has been helping me get to bed a bit earlier, because I just think I got to get to bed. I got to do it so that the bedtime I set is like completed, and I'll get like the rewards for doing so, and I'll get the better Pokemon to show up. I want a better Caterpie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Pokemon Sleep. It's been it turns out that's how I can actually force myself to start getting to sleep earlier, not because of concerns about my health or anything, but just because it helps me progress in this game.
Now, how does it know that you're asleep?
It like I think it kind of like monitors like the sound and like, your movements on the bed and stuff. I saw some, it's not like perfect at that. I've seen some people like say, compared to like a more dedicated thing, it's not as good. Although it is possible to sync it up with like a smartwatch to better keep track of that stuff. And there's some like Pokemon Go bonus thing that also you can put on to even better keep track of that. That's how it does all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I said, I've been trying to get. I'm thinking. Look, I'm about 40 now. Statistically, I'm halfway through my life. I got to try now to try to get into some somewhat better, healthy things like exercising more and sleeping better and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've gotten more back into running and things. So yeah. For the record, I guess I'll just say when it comes to exercise, to tell people like, if you want to get into that, you just got to start. Like, it doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Do not go. The first time I decided I'm going to start trying to do this, I made a decision, I'm going to run around the block. And I felt almost dead by the time I finished. And I was like, okay, going from like being out of shape to running for maybe 8 minutes was maybe a little much. Maybe start just running up or down the block if you're like in not the greatest shape. But yeah, you just got to start, and you just got to increase it. As Nippon Son Goku, which we didn't pick up unfortunately, reminded us, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So that's all that stuff. That's just some stuff about health. Oh, random health tip. I've heard apparently if you should actually, every maybe 20 to 30 minutes, if you're sitting down, it is healthy to get up and just walk around for just a little bit. That just sitting all day, which is actually what my job entails, is not good, even if you are exercising. So that's like this. So, every half hour I try to get up and maybe just walk around for about 30 seconds and then go back. It's not quite the highest is recommended, but it's not like I can spend several minutes at work. Exactly. But yeah, stuff like that, just general health tips that might help people out.
Okay.
And then all the usual stuff. Don't drink too much. Don't smoke, blah, etc., etc., etc. All right. And that's this has been my health tips for the week, I guess. And any final things to I think you already, I think we're pretty much done at this point. I'm just rambling on as I always do at the end. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Since 1997, there's been one place in America to find the best action shows on the planet. Toonami. We started the revolution, and we're still bringing hope to the people every Saturday night. With new episodes of proven hit shows. Teen Titans. Oh, yeah! Zatch Bell. One Piece. New shows with a world of possibility. Naruto. Bobo.
His body hair kicks butt.
And a little taste of what makes us tick. IGPX.
You want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man.
The first Toonami original series. You're in the big leagues now, Hotshot. Plus, we introduce you to the best and brightest the planet Earth has to offer. Toonami, more than an action show. It's a way of life.
This is amazing.
Building you up and breaking you back down again.
Brace yourself.
Toonami, only on Cartoon Network.